Hello, dear astrology lovers, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexandra, and I'm a professional ESAR certified astrologer. In today's video, we're covering the astrological transits for August 2026 and what a month it's going to be. We're entering the eclipse season, and on top of that, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the Sun are all changing signs. Also, Mercury has just finished its retrograde journey through Cancer, and we're all eager to finally accelerate and move forward again. If July was marked by delays, misunderstandings, a melancholic mood with Mercury retrograde in Cancer, insecurity as well, or questioning different areas of your life, August is going to be quite the opposite. We're all going to feel a noticeable shift in energy, not only because Mercury is now moving direct, but also because of all the other planetary shifts taking place throughout the month. And now let's see what you can expect on a personal level. Hello, dear Sagittarius Rising. This is your horoscope for August 2026. This month brings a lot of planetary changes and a lot of planetary activity centered around Jupiter, your ruler. You probably know that Jupiter is transiting Leo in your ninth house, and I have special videos dedicated to that. So if you would like to learn about what you can expect from that specific transit, you can watch my video titled Sagittarius Rising, Transiting Jupiter in Leo 2026-2027. And when it comes to August, in mid-August, we'll have a powerful stellium in Leo in your ninth house, and it will consist of Mercury, Jupiter, your ruler, the Sun, and the Moon. Since the Sun and the Moon will be close to the South Node, we'll have a powerful solar eclipse on August 12th in your ninth house. All these planets are benefics and they could impact your ninth house, which is the house you naturally rule, in a very positive way. But before the eclipse, in the first half of the month, we'll have some important planetary changes. On August 6th, Venus, the ruler of your 6th and 11th house, is entering Libra in your, of course, 11th house. And just a few days later, on the 9th, Mercury will enter Leo in your 9th house, and at the same time, it will form a conjunction with Jupiter, your ruler. When these planetary changes happen, Venus in Libra, Mercury and Jupiter in Leo, and Uranus in Gemini will form a powerful lotus configuration. It will include your 11th, 9th, and 7th house, with the emphasis on the 9th, because that's where you'll have the powerful stellium I just mentioned, and as well as the solar eclipse in mid-August. In case you're not familiar with stellium, it's a harmonious configuration that consists of two sextiles and a trine, and it can really make a positive impact on you in August. As I said, all these planets in Leo are benefics, and being connected within the Lotus configuration, they could bring some positive changes and opportunities in your education, foreign travel, and legal affairs, including working with a lawyer, because all these things are represented by the ninth house. For some, this could mean finally finding more meaning in everything you're doing. The ninth house is the house of life purpose, and you'll have Mercury there in conjunction with Jupiter, which represents you. They'll both be in sextiles with Venus, the ruler of your sixth house, which represents work and your everyday routine, and Uranus, which represents change and rules your third house. So in mid-August, there could be some positive work-related changes, especially if you have similar aspects in your birth chart. This could also refer to your habits and routine, and it's all happening with the intention of bringing more meaning into your life, because that's what the ninth house is all about. You might decide to dedicate more time and energy to what truly fulfills you. For some, this could mean an amazing job offer coming through people who live and work abroad. It could be a foreign company or an individual who lives abroad and needs your skills and services. resources. If you're looking for a better job or new collaborations, stay alert in mid August, be visible, and create opportunities. Of course, the chance of this happening is higher for those who already have harmonious aspects between Venus, Uranus, Mercury, and Jupiter in their birth charts. The aspects don't have to be exactly the same like the ones that we have in the sky right now, but harmonious connection is important here because it, as I said, it increases the chance of something happening, because then that's your atmosphere. Whenever current aspects resemble your birth chart, that's your atmosphere, and there's a high chance of your natal potential getting activated. Okay, and what adds even more to the possibility of new collaborations that I just mentioned is the fact that Mercury, which is part of these harmonious aspects, rules your seventh house, which is the house of relationships, partnerships, collaborations, and marriage, of course. And again, Mercury is the ruler of your 10th house, which is career, and also the ruler of your seventh house, which is other people, and it will be in conjunction with Jupiter, which represents you. Together, they'll form a sextile with Venus, the ruler of your sixth house, which is work, and Uranus, the ruler of your third house, which is communication. So, career, work, other people, communication, contracts, getting connected, all these things are possible for you in August. It means that someone could reach out to you and offer you a collaboration or a new job. Mercury and Jupiter together represent official legal documents, so it could be an amazing new contract. For example, it can bring an opportunity to work in education because the ninth house and Jupiter will be so prominent. And for some, this entire lotus configuration could also mean an engagement, or in other words, a marriage proposal. And in case you didn't know, engagement is represented by the sixth house, because when you are engaged, you are in a transition period between a regular relationship and marriage. A regular relationship and dating are represented by the fifth house, and marriage is represented by the seventh. So the sixth house is in between, and that's where you are when you are engaged. Sometimes people break their engagement, and that's usually because the sixth house ruler is afflicted either by Saturn or Uranus, or you have Saturn or Uranus there. There are some difficulties with that, and that's how you can see that an engagement period can be a bit challenging. So, the beautiful lotus configuration that will be active in mid August will include Venus, the ruler of your sixth house, Mercury, the ruler of the seventh, which is your partner, Jupiter, which is you, and Uranus, which is a surprise. So, this beautiful engagement thing can happen completely unexpectedly, of course, if you have a positive connection between all these planets in your birth chart. And this could also mean falling in love through social media or an app, because Uranus is involved, and of course Venus will be transiting your 11th house. If you have a harmonious aspect between Venus and Uranus in your birth chart, this is your atmosphere. You are prone to such situations, and the chance of something happening in August is quite high. So, if you're interested in starting a new relationship, be visible and do whatever you can to also increase that chance on a practical level. And as I said in the beginning, the ninth house will be very accentuated with the entire stellium in it. So if you'd like to expand your knowledge in certain areas, you can definitely do it starting from mid-August. This is especially good for those who'd like to study online marketing, astrology, and anything creative and related to the digital world, because Mercury and Jupiter in Leo in the ninth house will be well aspected by Venus, the ruler of your 11th house, and Uranus. Leo is creativity. Mercury and Jupiter together represent marketing, especially in the ninth house, and the impact of Venus from the 11th house and Uranus definitely adds the digital side to it. And Venus in Libra in the 11th house will also form a grand air trine with Pluto in Aquarius in the 3rd house and Uranus in Gemini in the 7th. Again, some positive changes and surprises in your relationships with other people are possible also in your friend circle and in your workplace because of Venus's rulership over the 6th house. And on the 11th, one day before the eclipse, Mars, the ruler of your 5th and 12th houses, is entering Cancer in your 8th house, and that's when the situation can start getting a little bit complicated. The moment Mars enters Cancer, it will automatically form a T square with Venus and Neptune. These aspects represent deception and disappointment, and this means that you should be a bit careful when it comes to romantic relationships in August, especially again if you have similar aspects in your birth chart. The main issue here is the fact that Mars rules your 5th house and it will be in the sign of its fall in the 8th and in a square with Neptune in the 5th house and also in a square with Venus. So you could be more emotional, reactive, and even passive, a little bit possessive toward your partner. With Neptune involved, things might not be clear enough, which can cause conflicts and jealousy. Some could start a secret relationship, and for some, this could mean not seeing the other person for who they truly are. These are also the aspects of idealization that turns into disappointment later on. So, new possibilities for falling in love could definitely appear with the positive aspects between Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, and Uranus, but I wouldn't recommend rushing into a relationship. In August, it's better to delay things a little bit, stay in the friend zone and observe. If that's really your person, you can start the relationship later when the afflictions are gone. So opportunities can definitely show up, but it's maybe it's not good to just rush and start a relationship under the affliction from Neptune. And if you are already in a relationship and have similar afflictions involving Neptune in your birth chart, August could bring some disappointments, but that's only if you've been ignoring the red flags and pushing things under the rug. This could be a reality check for you, especially because in the second half of August, Venus and Mars will be squared by Saturn in your 5th house. Here I have to underline that your birth chart is the basis of everything again. So I don't want anyone to get disappointed by hearing all these things because not everything will apply to everyone. I'm trying to cover as many possibilities as possible, but there's a reason why the same transits impact people in different ways, and some people don't even feel certain transits. Of course, they don't feel them because that's not their atmosphere, those are not their lessons to learn. If you don't have any similar aspects in your birth chart, these afflictions are simply not your story. As I said, not your lessons to learn. You probably have some other lessons and you are not prone to these kinds of situations. If the Neptunian stories are not your thing, then you won't even feel this in August. And speaking of these love challenges, Mars is also the ruler of your 12th house, which adds to the Neptunian energy. So overall, I wouldn't recommend rushing into new relationships in August. Rather observe and give yourself time. And when it comes to the 8th house that Mars will be transiting, in the sign of its fall, which is Cancer, it's good to remember that this house also represents surgeries, injuries, and danger. So don't expose yourself to any unnecessary risks. For example, it could be through sports and physical activity because that's what Mars represents. And on top of that, it rules your 5th house. Also, pay more attention in traffic, because Mars will be in a square with Saturn, which rules your 3rd house. And in general, regardless of the aspects, whenever Mars transits your 8th house, it's advisable to pay more attention to your overall safety and well being. So keep that somewhere in the back of your mind until the end of September, and then After that, it will move into Leo. And another two areas that could be impacted by this T square are your friend circle and workplace. Venus rules your sixth and 11th house, and with the affliction from Mars, the ruler of the 12th, and Neptune, there could be some misunderstandings or weird situations that could put you in a bit challenging position. So, this is the time when you should be more introverted and focused on your own things in silence, if that's possible. And in general, as you can see, there's a lot of contrast in the aspects and configurations in August. The positive and negative ones are somehow intertwined. And the point of astrology is to help us navigate through them in the most beneficial way for us. And of course, to conclude this part, mid-August could bring amazing opportunities, especially in relationships and collaborations. But instead of jumping into new experiences too fast, give yourself some time to observe. You can make big moves later after your thorough assessment. And talking about mid-August, there's another important thing to cover. We'll have a powerful solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Leo. It will be on the south node, which is very important, in your ninth house. If you have any planets around this degree of Leo, you could experience significant changes over the next 6 months, especially when it comes to your education, legal matters, travel, and even life purpose. The conjunction is absolutely the strongest aspect. And then, if you have any planets around 20 degrees of the other fire signs, as well as the air and fixed signs, this eclipse could shake them up and awaken their natal potential. So, check which houses they rule and what kind of story they have to offer. And speaking of your ninth house, the following 6 months could bring significant events and new beginnings in that area of your life. Since the eclipse is happening on the south node, it could push you to make space for new experiences over the coming months. For some, this could mean a powerful new beginning in a foreign country. It could also mean enrolling in a university or starting to work at an educational institution. It could also be an alignment with your life purpose. You could find activities or even a job that truly fulfills you, and that's part of your mission as well. Some of you could find teachings that deeply resonate. They could be either religious or from other fields. And some could find an important teacher or even a guru with Jupiter there. The eclipse on the south node could definitely bring new people and karmic experiences. And if new people enter your life through the symbolism of your ninth house, you could literally feel like you know them, like you already know them, even though they are new to you. And that is because you do know them from your past incarnations, because that's what kind of people, that's the kind of people who enter our life with the south node involved. And in this case, when it comes to this eclipse and Jupiter in your ninth house, it could be an important teacher. Of course, it could also mean releasing something. If you are in the wrong university or the wrong country, you could have to leave or decide to leave after this eclipse and start a new life chapter. Leo is all about aligning with your true self and your real identity. The 6 months after it could bring you closer to who you truly are and also to your higher calling. Maybe you have some valuable gifts to share with others, and maybe that's your mission. Also, around the time of the eclipse, we'll have an opposition between Mercury in Leo in your ninth house and Pluto in Aquarius in the third. If you have similar aspects in your birth chart, you could easily make some radical decisions. So stay alert when it comes to that. Pay attention. It could be, for example, saying goodbye to a country or university even that you don't feel is right to you. This is just an example, but similar situations could happen. And Mercury is the ruler of your 10th house, so it could be work related as well. Since the opposition includes the third and the ninth house, pay attention to the way you approach things, to your communication, to your decisions, because with the opposition with Pluto, and especially if they are in a difficult aspect in your birth chart, you could be prone to making some radical decisions, and this repeated aspect in the sky can trigger you to actually do it. Also, days immediately before and after the eclipse are usually a bit more intense energetically, so try to stay calm as much as you can and avoid conflicts. Mercury is the ruler of your second house, of your seventh house as well, which is in Gemini. So approach relationships carefully because, as I said, some connections could easily break. And on the 23rd, the Sun will enter Virgo in the 10th house, and on the 25th, Mercury will follow. Both of these planets will be squared by Uranus in Gemini in your 7th house. So the end of the month could be a little bit stressful, especially when it comes to your communication with other people. And this affliction will be active until the end of the month, which is important because on the 28th, we'll have a lunar eclipse on the North Node at 4 degrees of Pisces in your 4th house. If you have any planets around 4 degrees of Pisces and the other mutable signs, as well as the earth and water signs, this eclipse could trigger significant changes. This eclipse is also a bit specific because it's a bit disruptive. Mercury and the Sun will form a T square with Uranus and the Moon. Actually, since it's a full moon and also lunar eclipse, the Sun and the Moon will be naturally opposed, with an additional detail, and that's the fact that the Sun will be in conjunction with Mercury, and all these three planets, the Sun, the Moon, and Mercury, will be squared by Uranus. So we'll have this powerful and a little bit disruptive T square that will include your 10th, 7th, and 4th house. So what does it mean? It could shake up your goals, your career, relationship with your boss, and people of authority in general, and with other people as well, because the 7th house represents relationships and it will be also included. And it can also impact some areas of your private life. The eclipse is falling into your 4th house, which is your home, so it can mark the beginning of a radical change in the months after. And since Jupiter, the ruler of your 4th house, is transiting your 9th house, some of you might simply move abroad. And that could be the big change marked not only by the eclipse, but also by Uranus's square. For some, it could also be moving to another house or making other changes in your private life. Of course, the strongest impact will be felt by those who have similar aspects in their birth chart, as I've already explained. And despite the tension in the sky, the positive side of this eclipse is the fact that it's happening on the North Node, which is beneficial and works like Jupiter. It's the significator of growth and moving forward. So in your case, it could be telling you that it's time to change something in your private life, and you can think about it and see what it could be. Overall, in the last week of August and during the days surrounding the eclipse, try to keep calm, stay grounded, and avoid conflicts, especially at work. If you have a difficult aspect between Mercury, the Sun, and Uranus in your birth chart, do all you can to avoid confrontation, and anything you know could trigger you. You could be hypersensitive during those days and more prone to stress, which could result in some connections being broken too easily, especially with Uranus in Gemini squaring Mercury. So don't let that happen. And in the end, I want to clarify the impact of eclipses a bit further, because some of you might get scared because of the affliction from Uranus. So it's good to know that for the events to be activated, the eclipse has to fall on a planet or house cusp in your birth chart, or simply form a strong aspect with a planet in it. If the eclipse is activating something in your horoscope, and on top of that, you have similar aspects in your birth chart, then it could bring some important events. So not every eclipse will impact everyone. And I'm saying this because I don't don't want you to get scared because of the affliction from Uranus. Maybe it doesn't even mean anything in your case. And if it does, try to stay grounded in the last week of August and remember that even if change happens, it's nothing but an opportunity for growth and expansion, even if it doesn't seem like that in the beginning. To sum everything up, August is a super dynamic month, so try to make the most of the positive aspects and don't panic during the intense ones. I hope you found this video useful and inspiring. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and stay up to date with my monthly horoscopes and other astrology videos. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.